Good morning, dear students. And in the last class, we have discussed the ray diagrams of what? Convex lenses, right? Convex lenses. And hope you all done the work. That means the ray diagrams. Hope you all draw the ray diagrams of convex lenses in your notebook, right? So from that, you can conclude that as we bring the object more closer to the lens, what happens to the image formed? Yeah, the image formed will move far away from the lens, right? So what happens to the size of the image? Yeah, when we move the object more closer to the lens, the image size increases gradually, right? So these conclusions you can get from the table 10.4, right? So hope you all done, or hope you all wrote that in your notebook, right? Okay, so now we have to look into the ray diagrams of concave lenses, right? So we know what is concave lens is a diverging lens, right? So you know concave lens is having two spherical surfaces curved inward, and it is a diverging lens, right? So let us see how it differ from convex lens, or how the ray diagram differ from convex lens, right? So first of all, we have to look into the case object is placed at infinity, right? So first case is the object is at infinity. So we have to draw the incident ray like this. That is, here we have the optical center and the principal axis. Here F1 and here 2 F1, here F2, and here the 2F2, two principal foci and the double of that principal foci, right? So the first ray, the object is somewhere at infinity, right? So we can draw this. This is the ray coming from the object that is parallel to the principal axis, and what will happen after refraction? It will go like this. That is, the ray will diverge like this. Okay, and another ray like this, it will also diverge like this. Okay, so we can extend these rays into the back side. Okay, so where it will meet? Yeah, it seems to meet in the other side, the same side. That means at principal focus F1, right? So here will be our image formed, right? So what will be the nature of image? Yeah, the image seems to form at F1. The image seems to form at F1. And what will be the nature of image? Yeah, it is not a real image, right? So it is a virtual image. So virtual image, and the virtual image is always erect, right? So it's a virtual and erect image. And what will be the size of image? The size of image, yeah, it will be diminished in size, highly diminished, or we can say it is a point sized image. It will be a point sized image. Okay, so the image will be highly diminished or a point sized image. Okay, point sized image. So first case, the object is placed at infinity, then the image will be formed. Image seems to form at principal focus F1. And what will be the nature of image? It will be a virtual and erect image having highly diminished size. That means a point sized image will be formed. Okay, so that is the first case. And what will be the next second scenario? We have to look into the second scenario, that is, the object is placed somewhere else in between O and infinity. That means the object is placed anywhere in between optical center and infinity, right? So we have to look into, I will wipe this, and you have to draw, or you should draw all these figures separately, right? All these ray diagrams separately. Okay, So the second case, the object is placed in between where O and infinity. Okay. So we can place the object anywhere in between O and infinity. That means optical center and infinity. So I can fix the object here, right? So we have to draw two lines or two incident rays like this. One ray like this, it will refract like this. Okay. That means it will the incident ray parallel to this principal axis, then it will diverge from the principal focus like this. Okay, and next one we have to draw an incident ray passes through optical center. Then what happens to the refracted ray? It will go as like that. That means there will be no deviation or there will be no change in direction. Okay, so the refracted ray passes like this, and where will these meet? These two rays will meet here, right? That is, the image is formed here in between F1 and O. Okay, so the image formed in between F between F1 and O, right? So the image formed in between principal focus and in between principal focus and optical center, right? So what will be the nature of image? Yeah, the nature of image is always virtual and erect. Okay, so the image formed will be virtual and erect. What is the size of the image? Yeah, you can see from here also the image is highly smaller than that of object, right? So the image is a diminished image. Image formed will be a diminished image. So that is the second case. So for any position in between but infinity and optical center, we will get the image, or we can get the image like this. That is, the nature of image will always be same. That means here we take the object beyond 2f1. Suppose if we take it here, that is at 2f1, the object will be formed in between O and F, and the nature of this image will be same. Okay, so anywhere in between optical center and infinity, we place the object anywhere in between optical center and infinity. The image formed will be of a diminished size, and it will be virtual and erect image, and it will form in between optical center and F1, right? So these characteristics are always same, that the object is placed anywhere in between O and infinity. That means optical center and infinity, right? So that is why we have not considered all the positions. That means in the case of convex lens, we take six positions, right? The object is at infinity, beyond 2f1, between 2f1 and f1, and so many other scenarios. That means 6 scenarios we have taken into account, right? So here we didn't take that case, that all cases, because in all cases the image formed will be of the same nature. Okay, so that is about the image formation, or the image formed by lenses, spherical lenses, using ray diagram. Okay, so you can see that table 10.5, and we can conclude it like this. That is, the position of object at a different position, that is at one is at infinity, and second one between infinity and optical center O of the lens, and the position of image is given. Also relative size and nature of the image is given in the table 10.5. Okay, so after drawing these ray diagrams, you have to write this table also. Okay, so what is the conclusion? Yeah, here the conclusion is also given. A concave lens will always give a virtual, erect and diminished image irrespective of the position of the image. Okay, so concave lens always give virtual and erect image of diminished size irrespective of the position of object, right? Okay, so that's about ray diagrams. And now we have to consider, or we have to look into the next portion, that is sign convention. Okay, sign convention in the case of spherical mirrors we studied sign convention, right? Like that here also sign convention should be applied for lenses, right? So what are the sign convention? Yeah, first thing you have to keep in mind, concave lens, for concave lens the focal length is always negative, right? So what is concave lens? Yeah, this is a concave lens, sorry, this is a convex lens, and here we have a concave lens. So for concave lens the focal length is always negative. That is, when we talk about focal length we generally talk about what? The second principal focus, right? So for lenses also we follow the sign conventions similar to the one used in the case of spherical mirrors, right? And except the measurements are taken from optical center. In the case of spherical mirrors we taken the measurements from pole, right? And in the case of lenses we take the measurements from optical center O, right? And according to the sign convention, the focal length of convex lens is taken as positive and the focal length of concave lens is taken as negative, right? So this thing you have to keep in mind. For concave lens, F is what? F is negative, right? And for convex lens, F is positive. Okay, so this thing you have to keep in mind. Okay, and what the sign conventions for the values of U, V, F and that all things we have to take care of the sign convention. That means object distance, image distance, focal length, that all things that are related things, right? So the measurements taking from the left side of the optical center it will negative, that is that of the right side it will positive. Okay, so while doing the problems we have to choose the right sign convention. That means we have to give the sign convention to the values of U, V, F, like that. Okay, so that is, you must take to apply appropriate signs for the values of U, V, F, object height and image height h dash. That means the object height h and the image height h dash. While taking the sign, how we can take the sign convention? Yeah, the object is placed above the principal axis, then it will positive, and if it is placed below the principal axis then it will negative, right? This is same in the case of image height also, right? So these things also we have to consider, right? So that is sign convention for spherical lenses. So these things you should remember always, right? And all other things will similar in the case of spherical lenses as well as in the case of spherical mirrors, right? So that is sign convention. And next one we have to know what is lens formula and magnification. Okay, so we already know mirror formula and magnification, right? So like that here also we have a lens formula and magnification formula, right? So what is lens formula? What is mirror formula? Mirror formula, you know, 1 by v plus 1 by u is equal to 1 by f, right? This is mirror formula, and like this only a sign change is given in the case of lens formula, right? So what is lens formula? Yeah, lens formula is given in your textbooks. That is, this formula gives the relationship between object distance u, image distance v, and the focal length f. So what is this is mirror formula, and what is the lens formula? Lens formula is 1 by v minus 1 by u is equal to 1 by f. Okay. So it is given in your textbook, 1 by v minus 1 by u is equal to 1 by f. Okay. So the lens formula given above is general and is valid in all situations for spherical lenses. So it is valid for concave lens as well as convex lens in all situations, right? So this is valid for all situations for any spherical lenses. Okay. So this is lens formula, right? Lenses formula. Or we can see this lens formula. Okay, that is lens formula. And what will be magnification? As we have a formula for spherical mirrors that relates the object distance, image distance, and focal length of the spherical mirror, right? Like that, we have a lens formula. Then lens formula which relates the image distance, object distance, and focal length of a spherical lens, right? So we have the mirror formula. What is the mirror formula? Yeah, the mirror formula is 1 by v plus 1 by u is equal to 1 by f. This is the mirror formula, right? So like this, we have a lens formula also. So what is the lens formula? Lens formula. Okay, so what is lens formula? Lens formula is 1 by v minus 1 by u is equal to 1 by f. This is our lens formula. Okay, so there is only change in this negative sign. This is the only change from that of mirror formula, right? So 1 by v minus 1 by u is equal to 1 by f is the lenses formula. Okay, so the lenses formula given here is general and valid in all the situations for any spherical mirror. So this is valid for all the situations for any lenses. That means it is valid for concave lenses and also for convex lenses and all other lenses. It is valid for all situations, right? So this is lenses formula. And we have to know how to apply this lens formula to find out object distance and image distance, object distance, or focal length. Just like we done some problems relating this mirror formula, right? From the mirror formula, we can get the image distance or object distance, and from magnification, we can explain the nature and size of the image, like that. Okay, so like that, all that things we have to do in the case of lenses also, right? So you should keep consider the sign convention also. That is, take proper care of the sign of different quantities while putting number values for solving problems relating to lens. That is, we have to consider the sign of all these values. That is, the magnitude of v and u may change from left side to right side of the lenses, right? So we have to choose the correct sign for the values, so that it will give the it will give the right answers, right? Okay, so we have to keep all the sign convention in our mind and apply the sign convention while doing problems using this lenses formula. Okay, So that is lens formula. And what is magnification? Magnification is also similar in the case of what? Spherical mirrors. That is magnification. What is magnification? Yeah, it will tell us how big or how small the image formed, right? That is, the magnification implies the size of the image formed, right? So how far the image formed, or sorry, how small the image formed, or how big the image formed, like that things will give the value of magnification, right? So what is magnification? It is similar to that of mirror formula. M is equal to h dash by h, that is image height divided by object height. And also we know it is also related to the object distance and image distance as v by u. That is, magnification is also, we can calculate magnification by v by u, that is image distance to object distance, right? So it is also, magnification produced by lens is also related to the object distance u and the image distance v. This relationship is given by m is equal to v by u. And in the case of spherical mirrors, we have m is equal to minus v by u. Okay, so don't get confused with these two formulas, right? Okay, so you should study your mirror part separately and the lens part separately. Okay, so you will not get confused. Okay, otherwise you will might get confused with these formulas and also the converging and diverging actions of lenses and mirrors, like that things. So study lens part separately and mirror part separately. Okay, so that is magnification. So now we have completed the magnification and lenses formula part. Okay, so we have to do many problems using this lens formula and magnification. We can do it later. And one more thing we have to study in this chapter, that is power of lens. Power of a lens means what? Yeah, whenever we talk about power of a lens, it means that what is the capacity, or it is the measure of the capacity of a lens to converge or diverge beam of light. That means we have converging lens as well as diverging lens, right? Diverging lens we have what? Yeah, concave lens, and converging lens we have convex lens. So power indicates, or power measure is the measure of capacity of a lens to converge or diverge the beam of light. So in the case of concave lens, we can see the power of a concave lens. It implies what? The capacity of concave lens to diverge the beam of light which falls on this lens, right? And if you are considering convex lens, what will be the power of that convex lens? Yeah, it will give the measure of, or it will give the capacity of that convex lens to diverge the beam of light that falls on the lens, right? So the power of lens gives us an idea about how much it converges or how much it can diverge the beam of light that falls on it, right? So the ability of the lens to what extent it can converge or diverge an incident beam of light. So it depends on the focal length of the lens. Okay, so power of lens depends on focal length of lens. Okay, so we can define power of a lens, that is the ability of the lens to what extent it can converge or diverge an incident ray of beam, and also it depends on focal length of the lens. So consider this is a convex lens, right? And here we have the center, optical center, the principal axis, and suppose a light ray incident on this what lens, and after refraction it will pass, sorry, okay, after refraction it will pass like this, right? And this will be the angle delta, that is, this is the angle of what, divergence, okay? And if the light ray diverges to its principal focus, right? So we know all the rays diverges to a point that is its principal focus, right? F2. Okay. So if we consider another convex lens, here this focal length is, suppose it is 10 centimeter, and suppose we are taking another convex lens having a focal length 12 centimeter, right? So an incident ray hits on the lens, and then what happens? That is, this delta decreases, right? That is, angle of convergence decreases, right? And if we, as the focal length of the lens increases, the angle by which it converges decreases. That means here, suppose it may be a 60 degree, and here it is a 30 degree, right? So the angle of convergence decreases as the focal length increases, right? So the power of lens depends on its focal length. That is, as the focal length or the focal length increases, then what happens to the angle by which it converges? This beam, yeah, it decreases, it will decrease, right? That is, the degree of convergence decreases as its focal length increases, right? That is, it denotes the power of lens. So we can represent power of lens by letter P, and it is equal to 1 by F. That is, power is inversely proportional to focal length. Okay, so power is inversely proportional to the focal length of the lens. As the focal length increases, what happens? The power of lens decreases, right? So that is the power of lens. And the SI unit of power of a lens is what? Diopter. SI unit of power of lens is diopter, and it is denoted by the capital letter D. Okay. So this is the SI unit of power, and it is denoted by capital letter D. And if F is expressed in terms of meters, that means focal length is expressed in meters, then diopter, 1 diopter is corresponds to the power of, here it is given, if F is expressed in meters, then power is expressed in diopters. Thus, the 1 diopter is the power of a lens whose focal length is 1 meter. That means 1 diopter is equal to 1 meter inverse. That is, if focal length is 1 meter, then the lens have 1 diopter power, right? That is, 1 diopter is equal to 1 meter inverse. Okay. So you may note that the power of a convex lens is positive and that of a concave lens is negative. Okay. So for convex lens, power of a diopter is positive, and for concave lens, the power of diopter is negative. Okay. So you may notice that the opticians prescribe so that is power of lens. That is, the power of a lens is the reciprocal of its focal length, right? So you may notice that the opticians prefer or the opticians prescribe corrective lenses indicating their powers, right? So sometimes you may notice the people with a short sight or long sight, they will wear spectacles, right? So the power of that spectacles is prescribed by the optician, right? So suppose it may be like 0.20D. So what it indicates, the person with a 2D, positive 2D spectacle having what type of lens? Yeah, they will wear what type of lens? Positive. Power of a lens is positive, means what kind of lens it is? Yeah, it is a convex lens, right? It's a convex lens. So the person should wear a convex lens in their spectacle with a 2 diopter power, right? So that is the power is 2D. This means the lens prescribed is convex, right? The focal length of the lens, we can find the focal length of the lens from this power. So what is power? Power is the reciprocal of focal length. So we can find the what? F by using this equation, right? So the focal length of the lens is positive 50 meter. Similarly, the lens of power minus 2.5D has a focal length of minus 0.40 meter. This is a concave lens. So the negative sign in the power indicates that lens is a concave lens, right? So that is about the power of lenses, right? So now we know what is power, and now you can find the power of lenses or power of spectacles which worn by your friends or your relatives or any peoples, any peoples around you who wears spectacles, right? So you can find the power of their lenses by knowing this equation and this sign convention, right? So whenever we see a positive sign, it will be a convex lens, and whenever we see a negative sign in the power, then it will be a concave lens. So many optical instruments consist of a number of lenses. That means we already said that the beginning of this class there should be compound lenses and as well as simple lenses. These two broad categories, right? So compound lenses, when we make compound lenses, it will be a combination of simple lenses, right? So they are combined to increase the magnification and the sharpness of the image. So compound lenses means it will give a magnified image, or it will give a clear or sharp image. Okay, so the powers are simply added up to make these compound lenses. That means the net power of the lenses placed in contact is given by the algebraic sum of individual powers. That means when we make a compound lens with 3 or 4 simple lenses that having a power of P1, P2, P3, P4 like that. So the net power will be P1 plus P2 plus P3 plus P4, right? So the simple addition will give the net power. Okay, so the use of powers instead of focal length for lenses is quite convenient for opticians, right? So it is quite easier to know the power of lens instead of their focal length, right? So this simple addition will make the compound lenses more easier, right? That means we have to use a lens having what, a 50 diopter power. Then we can make it by using simple lenses having what, 5 diopter power. Then 10 simple lenses will combine to give this 50 diopter power. compound lens, right? So this is given that the simple additive property of the powers of the lenses can be used to design lens systems to minimize certain defect in image produced by a single lens. Such a lens system consisting of several lenses in contact is commonly used in the design of camera lenses and the objective of microscopes and telescopes. Microscopes and telescopes will give a sharp image, right? So these instruments should have a lens with high power, right? So this simple additive property will give the lenses that we can collect the simple lenses together to get a compound lens, right? So here given in a box, that is more to know, there are some additional details about lens and its power, right? So you should read that and know how to apply the lens formula and magnification, and also the power, what is the unit of power, and what is the equation of power, like that things. Okay, so this is all about our reflection and refraction chapter. Okay, so we conclude we conclude this chapter and all the portions are covered, and we have to do more problems by using magnification of lenses and also the lens formula and power of lens. All these things we have to do, that means problems we have to do. Okay, so that will that I will give you through WhatsApp. Okay, so let us find up and study well, prepare well for your periodic test. Okay, and prepare. These things are given in a box, that is more to know, so you should read that, and it is about the power of lenses and this additive property of simple lenses to form compound lenses and like that things. So you should read that and you can get more idea about power of a lens from this box, that is more to know, and you will be more clear about these things. Okay, so that is about our chapter light, reflection and refraction. Okay, so till now we covered all the portions and we have to do more problems using mirror formula, magnification, and lens formula, magnification and power of lens, right? So we can do it in next class or we can do it through WhatsApp. Okay, so do prepare well for your exams and write all the or draw all the figures, diagrams in your notebook. Okay, so we can conclude this chapter, and here the conclusion is given, what you have learned from this chapter. Yeah, you learned many things, that is a reflection part. In reflection part we know laws of reflection and what other things we have learned in that things, spherical mirrors and mirror formula, magnification, and then we comes to refraction through a rectangular glass slab, and refractive index, optical media, optical density, and so many other things, right? So all the things that we have studied, I think all the things that I have taught you is clear to you, and if you have any doubts you can ask me. Okay, so study well and prepare well for your exams. Okay, so we can meet in the next class. Till then, goodbye and thank you.